Pixel phones have always been known for their incredible software and cameras, but their custom Tensor chips have had mixed reviews over the years. Common complaints include overheating, battery issues, and inconsistent performance. With the Pixel 9 on the horizon, the question is, will the Tensor G4 chip finally address these issues, and should you even buy a Pixel 9 or hold out for the Pixel 10, rumored to have a completely redesigned Tensor chip manufactured by TSMC instead of Samsung? There's a lot to go over, but let's take a quick deep dive into the Tensor roadmap to help you decide what the best choice is. First, it's worth giving a bit of context here. In late 2021, Google made a pretty bold move in the world of smartphones by replacing Qualcomm Snapdragon chips in exchange for their own custom-designed Tensor chips for the Pixel 6 series. As we all know, this was the start of a major shift in strategy where Google was aiming to move beyond raw performance and begin to embrace a more integrated, AI-focused approach to their smartphones. In my opinion, this change came at the perfect time since major competitors were already beginning to make big strides in their own custom SoCs like Apple and their M series chips, and Samsung as they started to double down on putting the Exynos chips in more of their flagship devices. Now at this point, we've been going on 3 years since the Tensor journey began, and needless to say, reception has been mixed. The first generation Tensor chip was Google's first initial venture into custom silicon, heavily based on the Samsung Exynos platform, where it showed a lot of promise in regards to machine learning tasks. It enabled some pretty big features at the time, like improved speech recognition for Google Assistant, more efficient on-demand video translation, and enhanced computational photography. It also embraced a lesser-known term called heterogeneous computing, which is a system that uses multiple types of computing cores to complete one singular task. Google Lens is a small example on how this can benefit Pixels, as it uses the CPU, GPU, ISP, and TPU to run efficiently, and the Tensor chip allows those systems to work more closely together. However, the first generation Tensor wasn't without its flaws, as it faced a lot of criticism for power inefficiency and thermal management that led to overheating and reduced battery life under heavy use. Keep this in mind as we move along, because this is going to be a reoccurring issue. The Tensor G2 was its successor, introduced in the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro, and it was positioned as a refined iteration of the first gen chip rather than a massive leap forward. At the time, Google touted a 60% increase in speed and a 20% increase in efficiency, along with minor cellular improvements. Most notably, the G2 chip expanded the Tensor ecosystem, powering not only the Pixel 7 series, but also the Pixel Fold and Pixel Tablet, bringing Google's AI capabilities to a wider range of devices. However, despite these improvements, the Tensor G2 did not completely resolve the overheating issues that were present in the Tensor G1. Users did continue to experience thermal throttling, increased heat, and reduced battery life under heavy workloads, especially during demanding tasks like gaming, video recording, or extended camera usage. Again, continue to keep this in mind. Tensor G3 in the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro is the latest Google chip where we see a more substantial leap forward in performance and capabilities. Notably, the G3 upgraded every major subsystem within the chip to enhance its on-device AI capabilities, allowing it to run twice as many machine learning models on-device compared to the G1. Because of this, we also saw a handful of new features make its way to the Pixel lineup, like a more conversational Google Assistant that can understand natural speech patterns, server quality text-to-speech, enhanced HDR video recording, improved Magic Eraser, Best Take, and Audio Magic Eraser. While the Tensor G3 undoubtedly surpassed its predecessor in some areas, users still continued to report overheating issues, particularly under heavy load, and still suggested Google had some room for improvement in thermal management. Now, that brings us to today, 3 years after the transition, where we're presented with a choice to continue with the Tensor G4 chip, or maybe wait for the TSMC manufactured Tensor G5, which is rumored to be Google's first fully custom designed chip. Let's start with what we know about the Tensor G4 first. Various reports suggest two major improvements. First is better heat management and power efficiency due to Samsung's latest 4nm process and their new fan-out wafer level packaging method that should offer cooler temperatures under heavy use and improve battery life. For a quick comparison, I think it's more than fair to look at Samsung's latest 4nm process included in the Galaxy S24 in select select regions running the Exynos 2400 chip. And while there's a lot of marketed benefits like hardware ray tracing, on-device AI, and faster 5G speeds, there is still a fair amount of criticism regarding power efficiency, at least compared to leading Snapdragon chips. Now, it isn't confirmed Google will base the Tensor G4 off the Exynos 2400, but if I had to guess, the two are going to share a lot of DNA, which does make me wonder if the Tensor G4 is going to fully resolve the overheating issues once and for all. Adding to the intrigue, the G4 is also rumored to feature a new Samsung modem with satellite connectivity, potentially offering faster 5G speeds and power efficiency. Don't get me wrong, on paper, these improvements should be enough to make the Pixel 9 a worthwhile upgrade for some people, especially for those that are not obsessed with specs like tech enthusiasts are, but it is worth wondering if the Pixel 10's TSMC chip is worth waiting for. From what we know, the Tensor G5 is rumored to be a major turning point in Google's chip development. This fully custom designed chip will be a huge departure from previous Tensor iterations based on Samsung's Exynos processors, as it's rumored to be manufactured by TSMC, well known for producing highly efficient chips for industry veterans like Apple and Qualcomm. Leveraging TSMC's experience, the G5 is rumored to be built on a 3nm process just like Apple's A17 chip for increased performance, and should use an integrated fan-out packaging method which should significantly reduce thickness while increasing power efficiency compared to its predecessors. In other words, the shift to TSMC, combined with Google's fully custom chip design, could finally address the previous criticisms about Tensor chips, and of course, I think it's fair to say we can expect to run more AI capabilities on device rather than relying on the cloud to a large degree like we do today. All of this brings me full circle to ask you the question: should you grab the Pixel 9 with the Tensor G4 or hold out for the Pixel 10 and its rumored Tensor G5 chip? It's a tough call, but here's how I see it. On one hand, if you need a new phone right now because yours is broken or outdated, waiting might not be an option, and that's perfectly okay. You'll always have another opportunity to get the latest Google chip down the road. Plus, let's be honest, the average user isn't obsessed with specs, and if you're not a hardcore gamer or constantly pushing your phone to the limits, the G4's performance should be more than enough. It is Google's 4th generation Tensor chip as well, so it'll definitely be the most refined version we've seen yet. You'll still be able to take advantage of a ton of AI features, you'll still get that awesome Pixel software experience, and you'll still be able to use those incredible cameras. Plus, it is important to note the Tensor G5 will technically be a 1st generation product, at least in my opinion, and it could be very well possible that the G4 is more reliable while the G5 figures out some of those 1st gen hiccups. On the other hand, if Google successfully pulls off the G5 with no major issues, it could be the most future-proof Pixel device we've ever seen. Personally, I'm expecting a significant leap in performance, longer battery life thanks to TSMC's expertise and power efficiency, and possibly a whole host of other upgrades touching every aspect of the Pixel experience. With Google taking full control of the chip's design, we could see improvements in everything from camera capabilities to charging speeds and hopefully many more. In other words, the Pixel 10 could be a whole new level of smartphone experience. Ultimately, the choice does come down to your individual needs, but leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Do you think it's worth waiting for a potentially future-proofed redesigned Tensor chip in the G5, or are you perfectly content with the performance of today's Samsung-made offerings and will move forward with the G4 in the Pixel 9? Let's start a discussion in the comments section, because I don't see this aspect being speculated on too much, and I'm sure the Android community will have a field day with this one. In the meantime, my friends, I'm getting out of here, but before I do, huge shout out to our channel members on screen right now. I know I say it often, but Damien and I are out here in these Android streets trying to get the best coverage out there on the platform, and your support is a huge help. We love you guys and appreciate y'all so much, and if you haven't already, don't forget to grab the July wallpaper pack in the community post, and if you want to get the pack for yourself, hit the join button down below. With that said, thank you all so much for watching. This has been Jordan Floyd with 9to5 Google, and I will see you in the next one.